So what is up, guys? Nick here, and welcome back to the More Nick Ackerman channel. In this episode, we're going to talk about the Google Pixel 10 Pro XL months later. Now, I do have the Moonstone edition, and I reviewed this phone on my main channel earlier this year when it did launch. And I got to tell you, I've been really loving the color of this product right here in this Moonstone edition. It is definitely a gorgeous device. It actually might be one of the best looking phones of the year. I also got this Pixel Snap case right here, which will allow you to put this on Snap accessories. Very similar to what Apple does with the MagSafe silicone type, and you'll see it does have these color-coded buttons right here. Overall, it's about a $50 case, but it's a very nice one overall. This phone doesn't really come with a charging brick in the box, but I want to talk about what it's like in reality versus, what you'll see on the spec sheet. So one of the things that concerns a lot of folks about the Pixel is the performance, but in reality, this phone tends to perform extremely well for just day-to-day tasks and things of that sort. They also do have quite a few, AI-based features on board, including, things like the Gemini integration right within the phone. Most Android phones are getting this here, but it goes a little bit deeper with the Pixel device, giving you built from the ground up AI within this product. So you'll see it in things like camera. You'll see it in other areas of the phone as well, within the Photos app as well. So the actual AI experience, I think, is more advanced than what you're going to find on a lot of other Android phones out there. It's also one of the most reliable camera systems you'll find on an Android smartphone. And honestly, I think the photos look better than iPhone in a lot of scenarios. So I tend to really enjoy the Google Pixel 10 Pro XL for its photography. I mean, tack sharp photos. And then you do have the ability to zoom 100 times with super res zoom. And that really does take it up. It takes it up a notch when it comes to the overall performance. Now, the software itself and the performance itself on the day-to-day is easy. That's how I would define it, because you do have, just a grid of icons here on the home screen. You can make these little folders, and it's an alphabetically sorted app drawer here. And over here, you can see on Android 16, we do have ourselves all these controls up here in the quick panel. And generally, it's just a really nice and simple, big buttons up here. You can edit them right there and add your tiles in. And it scrolls very fast. So it kind of is just a very simple, but also modern looking software. Now, Pixel hasn't really changed drastically over the years. So if you're used to using a Pixel device, this one's going to be no different. But definitely, I have to say, I've been enjoying the overall software itself over these months. Let me get this box out of the way. I keep hitting it with my hand, but it's just been phenomenal. It is rather, it's not like a Samsung phone where you have like a ton of things you can do that are going to be, customizing on top of customization on top of customization. It feels more like a very cohesive Google experience. So a lot of Google applications, a lot of good optimization around those applications. And it does have that Google search bar on the home screen. I didn't find a way to get rid of that. So if I go to home settings, it's not able to get rid of that, but you can put this phone in landscape mode, which is something you can't do on the iPhone, which is really strange because back in the day, you could put the iPhone in that mode as well. But if we go on the settings here and then we scroll down, you'll see we go to display and touch. They do have adaptive brightness modes, enhanced HDR, always on display is available for this phone. And there are a lot of features that you can play around with. It's not like it's featureless. We also do have a lot of nice clocks right here, so you can change different clock types. One of my favorite is this one over here, where you can see the calendar and the clock right there from the lock screen. If we go over here to color, you can change out the colors. I'm not going to because I have this where I like it right now. But generally, I find this software to be not overwhelming. It's a pretty minimal setup, and it doesn't really feel like it's too overwhelming. It kind of like disappears in the background of your life the more you use it. So for that reason, I think Pixel does have one of the better software experiences on the market today. So I've been enjoying that. You have things like Magic Q, which is definitely another AI feature built right on here. And of course, most of the AI stuff you can do on other Android phones and other phones you can do on this phone as well. But this is more of a simplified version of Android to me. It's just very simple. So I don't know how else to put it. To me, I actually feel like this might feel a little more simple sometimes than the iPhone device, which has a lot of settings buried upon settings. This one, not quite as much. I feel like it's pretty easy to operate this device right here. So let's go ahead and swipe up out of there. And we'll talk about something else, the heat and the thermals. Now, when I first set this phone up, the actual heat and the thermals of this phone was a little bit high, but over the past couple of updates and using it day to day, I haven't really ran into any real issues with heat. It's been pretty good. This phone tends to not look quite as good when it comes to gaming. The graphics don't look as good as some of the top tier gaming phones, and it's not quite as fast when doing that, but it can still play most of what you want to play on the day to day when it comes to gaming and stuff like that. So it's not slowing you down. So this is kind of one of those classic cases of it does better than what the spec sheet will say. I'm not making excuses though. I want to see a 8 Elite. I want to see a top tier chipset on future Pixels or something of that sort. Maybe their own tensor can go just upgrade its performance to like match the level of the competitors. And then we don't really have anything else to say, because really this phone is really nice experience with the Pixel software, and then having even better performance in gaming as well as just pure CPU speed is only going to improve its total package for the long haul. I mean, nowadays most apps are fine. Nobody's really having any issues. People using older Pixels have even mentioned in the comments that their Pixels still run fine. So it's not really a big issue, but I think the long haul, people keeping the phone 5 to 7 years, this could benefit from having a top tier chip. And when you look at the prices of the Pixels, they are up there. So why not just have the best chip, if you get what I'm saying? Now, one thing I've really been enjoying is the display experience of this phone. Now, I have this theme on where I change the icons to kind of all look this color. I really enjoy this stuff. It kind of takes away that super vibrant look on the home screen. It tends to make your phone distracting, if you will. So I kind of like this overall look. Some people don't, but that's easily changeable. The fact of the matter is this phone gets very bright, extremely bright. It can get like 3,000 nits. So it's very bright. It's also extremely smooth with its 120 hertz. And I feel like it runs smoother than the iPhone does sometimes. So kind of just the animations kind of stay a little more consistent. They're not quite as looking to be as visually as pleasing, but at the same time, they are very, very fast. The smooth display option is very, very fast, and it stays smooth and quick pretty much daily. So this feature and this option right here on this phone has been excellent. The phone just kind of like flies through everything. Everything you kind of know where it's at, because that app drawer is alphabetical. So if I'm looking for something, I'm just going to swipe down to find YouTube right there. If I'm looking for X, I would swipe down again and I'll find X right there. And you can also slow it down and it still stays silky smooth when operating. So if I go to news here and I scroll over to technology, which is what we talk about here on this channel, you'll see everything just running at a nice 120 hertz. It's just super smooth to operate this thing day to day. So enjoying that quite a bit about the Pixel months later. Another thing I've been really enjoying, and this phone does a fantastic job in, is battery life. This device, once it learns your battery usage via the adaptive battery modes, I tend to get extremely good battery life. You can also use extreme battery saver on here, and unlike some other Android phones on the market, this phone actually has really good standby time. So I like the standby time for this phone. Pretty large battery in here as well, although not silicon carbon, is definitely a very large capacity on here, and it tends to last. It lasts a very, very nice amount. So that is a very good thing about this phone as well. Now, another excellent thing, we kind of touched on it earlier, is the camera consistency. Now, that design is pure Pixel. I do love it. It's very innovative looking camera bar right here, very their own thing. People even call it the iPhone Air a Pixel copycat with the camera bar on the back. But they've definitely pioneered that camera bar, and I definitely like that design. It really stands out as unique. But just the level of consistency I get with the zooming, the ultra wide, the regular wide, even the video is very, very strong on the Pixel. I wouldn't call it the best on any phone, but it is very, very acceptable and something I would use for even shooting YouTube videos, social media. It's very, very strong for most respects you're going to need it in. Now, where I would like to see an improvement is on the front-facing camera. I like to see a little bit of a wider look. So if I go like that, it's pretty wide, but I like it to be a little bit more ultra-wide. That would be nice for this phone right here. But generally, the camera setup has been a very big thumbs up for me. And I do think that the way it processes images, it's just such a easy consumer friendly camera for pretty much anyone. You don't even need to know what you're doing. Just snap a photo. It does what it does. If you want to get granular, they have white balance exposure. If you swipe up over here, you'll see they have ISO. So they got plenty. If you want to get a little bit more granular, if you go over to video here, click settings, you'll find more settings for that as well. Now you got slow motion, time lapse. They even got their own pan modes, blur modes. So it's here. Go over here to 4K. You can do 4K at 60. You can even do 8K 30 on this phone. You can see 60 is not highlighted. Maybe we're going to see an 8K 60 in the future. But this has got the chops, the video chops that you're going to need for sure. So I'm very, very happy to report that the camera is very, very strong. You got motion photos, macro focusing, and different pro options right here as well, including raw mode. So Pixel is no joke when it comes to the camera. And these several months later, I find this to be like the best point and shoot smartphone on the market. It just, you take a picture, it processes, and it always turns out beautiful pretty much every time. Pixel's been doing that a long time, but this one's even better with its super far zooming, its AI processing, it's getting even stronger. It's been a really, really great experience on this device right here for camera. Now, the software experience, we talked a bit about the performance earlier and how it's very, very simple to use. I get updates regularly on the Pixel software, pretty much monthly. So it's a very, very good software support. And if some security risks or anything come out, we do get those very, very fast because this is Google's phone. So it's going to come really quickly to the Google device. In addition, Android updates that are major are going to come here first as well. So if you do like quick updates to be on the latest and greatest versions of the software, you're going to get it right here for sure. Now, this does have some bugs, some annoyances, and some real frustrations that do happen occasionally, but they're not that frequent. I don't really see too much choppiness day to day. That's kind of the same story I've been saying about other phones, because it's kind of true. Most of the phones are getting really, really good, that the bugs and the annoyances and the frustrations are just not too frequent. Though the biggest one I had is I have some app crashes sometimes as this phone heats up. It doesn't heat up too much, but there's an occasional time if I'm pushing it hard, it does, and it crashes an app. So it does occur sometimes, but I haven't had too many issues with any rebooting or anything like that. So that's a good thing for this phone. I just enjoy the overall package of the Pixel. I feel like it's a really, really smart smartphone with a lot of inclusion of AI and a lot of inclusion of smart features that don't overwhelm the user, but also make the phone feel smarter. I don't like how it's super Google-fied everything, so I kind of turn this Google page off to the left usually after I'm done with my reviews. I also don't like how I can't remove the Google bar, so I feel like it's kind of trying to push you into the Google ecosystem a little too hard. That's the only thing I don't like about it. I wish it was a little bit more blink, like some of the older Nexus phones, where it's kind of like more vanilla Android, but at the same time, you know, this is a Pixel. It's Pixel UI. You're buying into the Pixel experience with the Pixel Watch, the Pixel tablet, this Pixel Buds. The Pixel 10 Pro XL has been the best Pixel yet for sure. So who's this phone for? It's very simple. Who's this phone for? It's for somebody who's tired of iPhone and want to try an Android phone. You're going to really love this thing. It's also for somebody who likes beautiful design. I think the shiny edges, the camera bar, this moonstone, man, this thing looks beautiful in day-to-day practice. It might even not be coming through as well on camera, but this attention to detail, you see it everywhere on this phone, and it's one of the better looking phones of the year for sure. Even though it kind of like came out, this look was out already with the Pixel 9 Pro XL, this color right here just made this look even better. So you can see right there, the Google logo shines right there. It's just a really, really strong looking phone. And it's not something I would have expected to see from Google a while ago when I seen some of their earlier designs. So it's only been out for 4 or 5 months or so. So would I recommend still buying it? I think sure. If you guys really, really enjoy software that gets updated regularly, you want a really smart smartphone, you want AI to the best of that you can get on a phone. You want a strong camera that's super easy to use with no knowledge necessary, just snap and shoot. This is one of the best, period, on the market. I think it's the best on the market for somebody who doesn't want to know anything about how to use a camera. This is the phone right here. It just knows how to do everything by itself. All you gotta do is press click on the shutter key. That's it. This is the best phone for that. Also, if you want strong battery life and long software support, and you don't really like iOS, you like Google services and stuff, it's a no-brainer. So months later, it's been a huge thumbs up. I enjoyed the Pixel 9 Pro XL. I enjoy this one even more, but I am looking forward to seeing what Google does next because they've been inching along and kind of getting it better and better, but we're looking for a faster chip, and they've used this design a couple times already, so I'd like to see a little bit of a bigger phone with maybe silicon carbon battery to keep it thin, bigger screen, thin, bezels thinner. There's a couple of things they can improve, but generally it's been a go. I've really been enjoying it. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you all in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to be well, and peace.